Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing a review on Season 1 of The Institute. So, before I head into my thoughts and feelings on this first season of The Institute, just a quick disclaimer, I don't plan on having any sort of spoilers in this video, so if you have not seen this show, you should be okay to watch this video. Again, I don't plan on having any spoilers in here. I kind of just want to give you guys kind of this vague idea of what the show is about and what's going on in it. That way, if it sounds interesting to you, you can go check it out if you so wish. So yeah, what is The Institute about? The Institute is an 8-episode series that aired on MGM Plus, and it is based off of the book of the same name by Stephen King. And I also got to say this, I have not read this book by Stephen King. After I watched the show, though, I did go out and buy the book. So I can't wait to read the book and kind of draw, comparisons and differences and whatnot. So that's another factor as I'm going into this review. I am simply reviewing what the show gave me. I'm not going to sit here and compare it to the book. So what is The Institute about? This is what you need to know. It follows teenager Luke Ellis, who is kidnapped and taken to a mysterious institute where all the kids there have unusual abilities. Ooh. So, my thoughts and feelings on the show. I do think the show, it takes a few episodes, maybe about 2 or 3 episodes, I think, to really kind of get going and to really start to engage you. I do feel like the first couple episodes, they are kind of they're a bit slower. It's a bit more of a slow burn. And there's just so many questions at the start, like, why are all these kids here? What is this place exactly? There's definitely a lot of setup of intrigue and mystery, and I think it is deliberately meant to be, like, well, what's going on? You're supposed to kind of go into expecting that. So you have the main plot with the teenage boy Luke Ellis. You have his plot at the Institute, because he's kidnapped one night in the middle of the night, and he wakes up in this bedroom that's made to look like his bedroom, and when he goes out from this bedroom, that's when he realizes, he's in this whole big freaking building, and he meets other kids, about his same similar age range, and he finds out that all these kids and teenagers, they're all being experimented on. And you quickly get the idea within that first episode, that what all these kids have in common is that they all have like varying different degrees of either telepathy or telekinesis. And I don't think that's really a spoiler, I would not consider that a spoiler. I think you need to know going into this show that it's definitely going to be leaning and I guess more into like the sci-fi side of things. So I think it's kind of important to know what you're getting into. So yeah, all these kids, they're being experimented on for either telepathy or telekinesis. So yeah, Luke Ellis, he definitely has one of those abilities, because yeah, in like one of the very first scenes that you're introduced to him, he's like with his parents, and they're like sitting at a restaurant, and yeah, he moves, so I can't remember exactly what he moves, but he moves something and it goes like flying off the table, so you definitely learn very, very quickly that he is gifted with a special ability. So yeah, all these kids and teenagers, they have those exact same abilities. They're being experimented on, but that, once again, the first several episodes, well, probably more than the first several episodes, I think you literally kind of go through more than half of the show, and it's kind of just building up that thing, well, why exactly are they being experimented on? What is the function and purpose? What are they being groomed to do, essentially? So that's definitely the big number one question you have from start to finish of this show. Now, I will get into my first, I guess, little minor nitpick that I had when Luke got to the Institute and he was first meeting the other teenagers, because it seems like, my understanding, unless I was totally just not understanding what was going on, my understanding is that for like maybe a week or two, the kids are experimented on, and then like some of the other teenagers were explaining to Luke that, you know, after your first week or two of experimentations, when they deem you ready to like move on, you know, whatever that means, that they move you on into something that is called the back half. And none of them know exactly what the back half is. It's all a mystery to them, but they know once their experiments are done, and they pass some sort of test, because that's another thing. They have to pass some sort of test to finalize their abilities. And yeah, once they pass that test, they move on, like I said, to something called the back half. What is it exactly? But yeah, they're all kind of terrified of it because they have, like, other friends have never come back from it, obviously. When they leave, they're gone, never to be seen again. So my understanding is that these kids, for the most part, they're all there for maybe about 1 or 2 weeks. But once again, my little nitpick here is that all these teenagers, they come across like almost like they're fully grown, mature adults at times, because they act all like they're world weary half the time, and like they kind of understand certain things. But it's like, well, you've only been here for like a week or two. How do you know certain things? You know. So that was kind of my one minor nitpick, like very, very early on in like the first couple episodes, is just, yeah, the other teenagers acting as if they know more about certain things, you know, and trying to kind of explain plot elements to Luke, you know, because explaining it to Luke, but also to us, the viewer, you know. But it came across as kind of a little mildly irritating for me. Like, you guys have only been here maybe like a week, and you're acting like you know all the mysteries of this place. So you have that major plot point going on with Luke Ellis at the Institute, and you also meet all of the adult characters there that are running things, running the experiments, running just the program in general. I'll get to all the cast in a bit here, but yeah, your second major plot going on this show, this is where you're following a character named Tim Jameson, played by Ben Barnes. Yeah, guys, I'm not gonna lie, I totally watched this show for Ben Barnes. But yeah, Ben Barnes is playing a guy named Tim Jameson, and Tim, he's a former police officer, and you definitely get the idea something tragic has happened, because like I said, he's a former police officer, and he's coming to this new town, this new small town, and he wants to just start his life over. He wants to start fresh, and you definitely also get the idea that this small town is maybe just a few miles away from the location of the Institute. So you have that plot going on with Tim, with him starting his life over, and yeah, he has this kind of dark backstory about why he's starting over exactly, and why he's trying to get away. And Tim, he immediately kind of starts hearing all these rumors and hearsay about the Institute. And there's like this older lady, like I guess she's supposed to be homeless, and he meets her on the street, and she apparently seems to have some sort of special gift or ability as well. You get the idea pretty quick, but of course he's not picking up on that, but you, the viewer, are, because you know the kids at the Institute have like telepathy and telekinesis and whatnot, and it seems very obvious that this older woman has the same thing too. And again, Tim doesn't realize that, but yeah, she's kind of mentioning things that have happened around the town. She's mentioning kind of the Institute. So yeah, every person that Tim kind of meets, little tidbits of info and hearsay about the Institute are always kind of constantly brought up, and he immediately is just intrigued by this whole thing. And the majority of his plotline this season is him, just little threads kind of coming together over time, and it all goes back to the Institute. So this whole season, these whole 8 episodes, it is kind of this whole thing of, is Tim going to be the one to possibly go break all these kids out of the Institute, go rescue them? Yeah, it's like him and Luke have got to connect and meet up at some point, you know, to bring all these various different threads together. How did I feel about the show? Because I feel like I've not actually kind of touched on how I actually felt about the show. I really did enjoy the show. Like I said, the first like 2 or 3 episodes, it is a really big slow burn and a lot of heavy buildup and setup. But once the show gets going, I think it really gets going, and I found it to be pretty compelling and interesting. Yeah. I I eventually warmed up to the kids. Again, it took me about maybe 3 episodes or so for me to kind of really warm up and like all the kids and the teenagers. Because at first, I think they can come across as irritating, but yeah, as the show progresses and you get to like the last episode, it's like I definitely felt pretty connected to all of them, and like emotional attachments, and yeah, if bad things were happening, I was like, oh no. So for the most part, I really enjoyed this show. I looked forward to it each week because it was a weekly show. It wasn't a binge, and yeah, IMDb already has like a second season listed, like another 8 episodes, and I'm definitely here for that. I'm definitely looking forward to a second season, because this season, it's like you do get certain mysteries explained, but then once you do get those mysteries explained, it opens up a whole another host of other questions and mysteries, like, oh, okay, this is what a second season is definitely going to explore. And I do have to say, if you have read this book, the first, and if you have seen the show as well, on top of that, is this first season the entirety of the book, or has the show only covered half of the book? I am very, very curious about that, how much of the book was adapted, if it was the whole thing for this first season, and then like season 2 is going to be just a whole other thing, just branching off and creating its own original creative ideas, spinning off of what Stephen King has set up, or yeah, or if the first season was literally just like half of the book and the second season will be the second half. I am definitely curious about that. But yeah, I definitely kind of recommend this show if you like things like this, like about teenagers with special gifts and abilities. There's a certain X-Men type quality to it. Again, kids with like telekinesis and telepathy, like Jean Grey and Professor X, so there's kind of that X-Men sort of quality to it. Yeah, if you like strange like government conspiracies and intrigue and again, sci-fi elements, I think this will appeal to you. And yeah, just touching on the cast really quickly, we have Joe Freeman playing Luke Ellis. He was a breath of fresh air. I really liked his performance in this. There's something about his performance that's just rather nonchalant at times. It's like he tries not to let certain things like phase him, but I really liked his character. He's brave and courageous in his own way. He doesn't like bullshit, if someone is just lying to him, beating around the bush, it's like he knows, he can tell, even without his special abilities, it's like he knows when someone's bullshitting him. And I like that he's just kind of straight and forward to the point. He lets you know kind of what's on his mind. And yeah, all these other teenagers and kids that he meets, he befriends them, forms attachments to them, and yeah, it's like his whole arc is about saving and protecting his friends and trying to bring the Institute down. We have Mary Louise Parker. She's playing the director of the Institute, named Miss Sigsbee. And boy, oh boy, Miss Sigsbee. Mary Louise Parker, her performance was just so good in this. Miss Sigsbee she's really kind of cold and calculating, manipulative, sadistic. She acts like she cares for these kids. She acts like she has their best interests at heart, but she doesn't. It's very obvious that she doesn't. She has a role and a job to perform, or else, yeah, her life is on the line because she works for someone higher up. You definitely get teases of the higher up, which I think will be explored in the second season. So yeah, Miss Sigsbee, everything that she's doing is in service to those higher up in power than her, and yeah, she doesn't care about these kids whatsoever. Yeah, it's like when the kids, when they do pass their experiments, they have like almost like a party, all the kids get like a birthday cake, and they're like, oh yay, congratulations for passing your tests, you're gonna move to the back half now, whatever the back half is. And yeah, they act like it's like this promotion, and she acts like this is all great and wonderful for the kids, by giving them a piece of cake, and it's so fake and phony. But yeah, she is a character. But yeah, Mary Louise Parker, her performance was really, really good in this. And then, yeah, playing some other miscellaneous characters within the Institute, you have Julian Rikings. He plays a guy named Stackhouse. He's like the head of security at this place, and he's just like Miss Sigsbee as well, a cold, calculating, manipulative type manner. But yeah, you almost kind of get the idea. He kind of almost has this desire to bring Miss Sigsbee down, like it's almost like he kind of wants her job, you know, and like he's almost like a people pleaser. He's a people pleaser, almost a bit of a tattletale, it seems, and yeah, he certainly doesn't care for these kids as well, because he's there for the greater goal and agenda, which again you get explained by the end of the season. And then yeah, you have a guy named Robert Joy. He plays Hendrix, and Hendrix is like the guy who's in charge of the experiments. He's the scientist, and yeah, he's not as like as cold or calculating as Sigsbee and Stackhouse. He comes across as a bit of a weaker man. You know, he's people easily kind of walk all over him and talk down to him, but I mean he's very sadistic though. I mean, once again, he's the guy in charge of these experiments, and there's definitely these vibes, you guys. There's definitely these just really eerie, horrifying vibes. You have these experiments being run on the kids, and there's just other elements that happen near the tail end of the show that, like, you know, like when you hear stuff, you know, during the Holocaust and in the concentration camps, and the doctors there running those really horrific experiments on you know, Jewish people or gay people or people of color. You know, you would hear about all these horrifying experiments that were being run at the concentration camps, and there's just certain elements that are just so disgusting and disturbing going on in this show with how the kids are treated. And yeah, the character of Hendrix, again, him being the guy in charge of these experiments, it's so icky and gross what he's doing to these kids. Ugh. And then yeah, ending on Ben Barnes here again. I totally watched this show for Ben Barnes, I'm not gonna lie. He's playing Tim Jameson, the former police officer, and yeah, he's coming into this small town, like I said, to escape his former life from a tragedy that has happened. And yeah, he becomes this town's night knocker, and apparently that's just some sort of fictional job that Stephen King came up with, is my understanding. And yeah, what Tim does, he just kind of goes around at night, and he just makes sure everything in the town is running smoothly and safely, and no one's in peril, there's no crime being committed. So that's kind of what he does in the nature of the show. But yeah, I loved Ben Barnes in this. Yeah, guys, it was so nice to see him play a good guy. Because I feel like his last several roles over like the past decade or so, his last several roles, he's played villains. Because even on something like Westworld, he wasn't necessarily a villain on Westworld, but he was still he wasn't really a good guy on Westworld. And then yeah, in the Punisher TV series, he was the villain in the Punisher. And then yeah, in the Shadow and Bone TV series, he was the main villain on that show. So he's played nothing but villains like the past decade. So it's really nice to see him play just a really good guy, with good intentions, and wanting to figure out the mysteries of the Institute and whatnot. So yeah, this is definitely worth a watch alone for Ben Barnes, because his performance was really, really great. So yeah, that's pretty much it for my thoughts and feelings on this show. As I said, I really, really liked it and enjoyed it. I'm anticipating a second season. I hope MGM Plus does pick this up. Like I said, IMDb already had it listed for another season, but I don't know if that's absolutely official from MGM Plus that it's been renewed. So yeah, I definitely can't wait for a second season to see where this story is going to go, where these characters are going to go, and yeah, all of the new questions that I have, how they're going to be answered and explained, because I think there's some really, really good stuff coming up on the horizon with this universe and this world building, because I think the world building is about to expand immensely, which is pretty exciting. But yeah, again, I definitely recommend this show if you like a show about teenagers with unusual special abilities, and yeah, this mysterious place, this mysterious institute. What are they doing exactly, and why? So yeah, that is it for my thoughts and feelings on the Institute. In the comments below, have you guys seen this show? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Just let me know your thoughts down below. So that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye guys.